The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has clarified that its substantive drug case against the suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, is still on course. The NDLEA's Director of Media and Advocacy, Femi, made this known in Abuja on Thursday. He said the case is still very much on course and billed for continuation before Justice Emeka Nwete of the Federal High Court Abuja on Monday, 16th of March 2026. The agency stated this while reacting to the discharge of Abba Kyari by Justice James Omotosho on a 23-count charge bordering on alleged non-declaration of assets filed against him by the NDLEA. On whether the agency will appeal Justice Omotosho's ruling, the NDLEA spokesman said the prosecution team will first obtain the certified true copy of the judgment to know the details of the ruling and thereafter be guided on its next line of action. Mr. Kyari is being charged alongside his two brothers who were accused of swearing to a false affidavit to conceal the origin of some properties. The court in the judgment held that the NDLEA failed to provide sufficient evidence in proving its case against the defendants, which is mostly non-declaration of land properties. Let's talk to TVC's judiciary correspondent Celestina Area for more on this development. Celestina, the court today said the NDLEA failed to provide sufficient evidence to prove that the properties in question actually belong to Abba Kyari. What exactly did the prosecution rely on, and why did the court find that evidence inadequate?
Okay, well, Nifemi, Justice Omotosho, in coming to his conclusion or his verdict rather, said that when it comes to the case of non-declaration of assets, the accused person is said to have declared the assets and also not declaring all, and also knowingly failed to declare all. So these are the issues that the court will look at and see if indeed the suspended DCP failed to declare his assets or declared his assets and knowingly failed to declare all. But so far so good, the NDLEA listed so many properties linked to the suspended DCP, but they failed to tie him to those properties. Tie him in the sense that failed to bring documentary evidence or proof to show that those properties actually belong to him. Properties in Abuja, in Makurdi, and also in Kaduna. They also said that the suspended DCP owned a polo sport club in Borno State. And in his defense, he said that particular center has been in existence even before he was born. And some properties that the NDLEA tied to him were actually properties owned by his father, which belongs to him and his siblings. And it's a massive piece of land which has not been shared, which the court also found to be true. And the court also said these positions or this defense by Mr. Kyari was not opposed by the NDLEA. And documents as to prove that someone owns the land were not also presented. So the court saw their case as watery, as baseless, and in the words of Justice Omotosho, as persecution and not prosecution. I'll record that this particular case is an offshoot of the main case, which is a drug case that the NDLEA filed against the suspended DCP. It was during the course of investigation, they noticed, according to them, that some properties were linked to him. They said when he was invited, when he was in their custody, he was given his asset declaration form to declare his assets, and he did not declare all. And there were some monies in his bank account that he did not declare. But the DCP put up his defense and also said that he needed time, when the form was handed to him, he needed time to fully put his thoughts together and write out all he had owned, but the NDLEA didn't give him that time. So the court also found reasons with him that the NDLEA did not give him enough time to properly put down all he has owned. But let's digress a bit and go to the main issue which still remains, which is his main case against him that has to do with the drug peddling. We recall he was arrested in 2022 alongside 6 other defendants and 8 other defendants, I beg your pardon. And in those defendants, 2 pleaded guilty and they were convicted and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment, which was in 2022. And him and some other police officers were also continued trial. We also recall that the federal government at that time had also moved to extradite him to the US to answer to charges of identity theft and wire fraud because he was said to have connection with Ramon Abbas, popularly known as Hush Puppy. And but in that process, Justice Ian Eko, who handled the case of the extradition, said that he's already been charged here. The federal government has no basis to take him to the US. So that was how the extradition was put off. Then he trial continued.
You know, while the court has discharged and acquitted him in this particular case, is like you mentioned, is also being in custody at the correctional center over other ongoing legal matters. But how does today's judgment impact on his immediate? Does it have any immediate effect on his detention?
I would say he will continue to be in custody at the Kuje Correctional Center because he hasn't been granted bail. But though Justice Omotosho granted him bail, but the judge handling the case of the alleged drug peddling has not granted him bail. So he'll continue to remain in detention. As a matter of fact, he has been in detention since 2022. So far, so good. The cases are different. They have no bearing because the one that has to do with the drug peddling was set to him trying to swap original narcotics for a dummy, and which the NDLEA said they have a video evidence to prove that he's actually guilty of that, but we cannot say that until the court find him to be such. So they are two different cases. Now this has been decided. That for the drug peddling, he actually filed a no-case submission saying that the NDLEA were not able to establish a prima facie case against him, but the court did not agree with him. The court ordered him to enter his defense. So currently, he's entering his defense in that particular case.
Judiciary correspondent Celestina Area, thank you for the insight.